Now I'm assuming most people know how to make mashed potatoes, but just in case, for example my children and my husband who's nodding his head behind the camera don't know how to make it, they're so simple. The problem I have with mashed potatoes, or any potato, I don't know if it's because I'm Irish, I cannot judge how many to cook. I make way too much. So I think it's from the days of the famine. There must be something in my bloodline that makes me cook too many potatoes. So I've kind of guesstimated what I think it will be for this dish, the shepherd's pie, which is 7 potatoes, about 2 pounds of potatoes. And basically you just peel them and cut them in half, that's all. And then pop them in a big pot of water, cold water, and then we're going to bring that to the boil. You need to add salt when you're cooking the potatoes, because that's where they get the flavour. I'm going to put about a teaspoon in. That's about that. Don't put too much, because you can't. Once you've got salt in your potatoes, you can't get it out. It's better to have a little less, and you can always add more at the end. And then when they're ready, we're going to need a cup of milk, 3 tablespoons of butter, and a masher. This is a potato masher if you haven't seen one. Now a lot of people like to use blenders, ricers, all kinds of weird stuff. Personally, I like the old-fashioned masher. And as my daughter always said, if there aren't the odd lumps in a potato, mashed potato, then it's not real. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring these to the boil, and then once they start boiling, it'll take about 15 to 20 minutes for the potatoes to become soft. So when you poke them with a fork, they'll fall apart, and then you know they're ready for mashing. So I'll come back to you when that's ready. Okay, so I've just taken the potatoes off the boil and strained them in the colander to get rid of all the water, and as you can see, they're really nice and soft. So when your fork can break them apart like that, that means they're ready. I've just put a tea towel under my saucepan to stop it sliding everywhere, because this is the mashing part. And basically you just got to mash really hard up and down, and when they're nice and soft like this, it's actually really, it's not hard at all to do. I'm just going to try and break up all the potatoes, all the lumps disappear. And you don't need to do that for very long. And then we're going to add the butter. And as I said, I've got 3 tablespoons. You can put more, put less, up to you. I find that just about enough. But I know I've seen people put a stick of butter in their potatoes, which is pretty obscene really, but I'm not going to say not to if that's what you like. We want really buttery potatoes. But this makes them nice and creamy. And then you smush it all around like that, and you can see it's all melted, it's all ready to go. So then it's the milk. So I normally have about a cup, just in case I don't know how much I'm going to use. So what you want to do is put maybe half a cup in to start with. Just kind of see how that goes. Now don't squish too hard with this, or you're going to end up with a face full of milk, which isn't very nice. Give that a little swirl around, and you can see they're coming together. Actually, that's a perfect amount. And then I'm just going to bash a little bit off here. I mean, as you remember, the other thing you can do is if you have a fork, you can kind of give it a nice little whip at the end. Little whipping makes it all nice and fluffy. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to taste them. And remember when I was boiling them, I put some salt in? I put about a teaspoon, and I just need a bit more. So I've got this fancy new sea salt grinder, so I'm going to try that. So you're just going to have to put in what suits your palate. Taste it. As I said, always do err on the side of less. And if you taste them, they don't seem very creamy, they seem a bit dry, just add a little bit more milk. And that's it. I double dipped, but they're my potatoes, I'm allowed to. And Sasha, there's even a little lump there for you. There you go, lovely creamy mashed potato, dead easy.